Speaking of like town infrastructure and shit, I've been watching a lot of videos today. Not conspiracy theories, but like kind of conspiracy theories. They're it was basically it was a conspiracy theory, but it was also true economics. It was about like how modern Chinese imperialism, and I know this sounds like some crazy tinfoil hat shit, but like bear with me for a second. I went down this rabbit hole of U.S. inflation and how we've been printing unlimited money and how we were only delaying the inevitable superinflation. And then I went to this rabbit hole about money laundering and this and that and the process of actually robbing banks. And then this video explaining like modern Chinese imperialism and how they outsource these big loans for big infrastructure projects that these third world countries can't afford, and then they end up in debt, and then they end up just siphoning their resources and oil from the debt that they owe. And it's like the new age of imperialism, not through military, practical, conventional warfare, but through financial warfare. And then all these like economists and analysts saying we gotta stop China. We're too complacent. We're not seeing that they're winning the cyber war and the crypto war and the economic war, and we need to. And then the communist China is a real threat or whatever, or not even communist China is the threat, but like pseudo communist capitalism is the threat, because basically China's evolved past the like hardcore socialism to like socialism with a bit of capitalism, and that they have these entrepreneurial businesses they funnel, but because they live in a closed system economy, they can basically alter the economy however they want and make these companies who ally with their government goals succeed, and the ones who go against their goals fail or get absorbed into a state-owned government. Or sorry, a state-owned company, not government. A state-owned company is essentially a company the government owns and funnels a bunch of money into to boost the economy, but also make basically okay. So the way that it works is like they'll spend money on a project overseas, and because the country they'll get a loan from China, and then they'll be like, okay, but we don't have the resources or the team to build this project. And China's like, hey, we have a company that just so happens to be owned by the state that will not only build this thing for cheaper, but will not impose any Chinese law. Because like when like we outsource things to like Africa and other countries, we always come in guns a-blazing. We're like, we're going to install democracy and we're going to assassinate Gaddafi and all that shit. The Chinese, their whole gimmick is, oh, we're not like America. We're not going to impose democracy on y'all. We're just going to, give you a better loan at a better rate, and we're going to help you build the thing you want to build. And they're like, okay, cool, we're going to get some infrastructure. And like I've seen it and this isn't like a conspiracy because I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen it in Jamaica because I was visiting family in Jamaica at the time, and we saw all these like road construction things, and a lot of the workers there were Chinese. And I was shocked. And I'm like, what's with all these Chinese workers and these Chinese construction signs? And they're like, Jamaica's been outsourcing infrastructure from the Chinese. And they just said yes. And I'm like, wow. And I didn't realize it was part of this bigger thing until I watched the video today and connected the dots. I was like, whoa, this is giving me some context to what happened in Jamaica. They're pretty much like doing this all over the world. And I always jokingly say, oh, Jamaica's a third world country to my mom and shit, but like Jamaica has money. I mean, granted, it's all based on tourism, and coronavirus kind of hurt that, but so to see them ask a loan from China is very interesting to me. They've always been super big on independence and self import, exporting and shit. So basically what China's doing is a Ponzi scheme where, or I don't want to say that loosely because I can't define a Ponzi scheme that well. Essentially, it's the quarter with the string trick where they'll put the money into a project that ends up going back to the Chinese government because it's their state-owned company. And so what that leaves the country with is a half-finished road or a power project or some infrastructure thing that they couldn't finish. and all this debt, and they have to keep asking the Chinese for loans, and when they're in super debt with the Chinese, you know, they're like, they gotta bow their heads and be like, please, we'll do anything, we don't have the money to pay you back, we'll suck your dick, please, just lower the debt. They're like, okay, well, we don't want to turn this into China, a Chinese colony. We have every right to do that. But, here's what we will do. We're gonna take your oil. You know, basically the American trick, but like they've improved upon it essentially. It's funny because the Chinese are actually out capitalizing us, because they're the way they explain it is that authoritarian capitalism is better than democratic capitalism, because without, you know, laws and sanctions and red tape and you know, regulations and shit, unregulated capitalism that is completely supported by this authoritarian regime can thrive and make a country a lot of fucking money in a lot of fucked up ways. And it's not like we're about doing this. We invented this, actually. We were just doing it in places like, trying to think, like, Puerto Rico, Colombia, South America. We did it to a lot of places. So it's not like, oh, fuck China, what China's doing is wrong. Well, they're basically just copying us, but they're just doing it better. That's why a lot of these economists and Americans who are writing about it are so paranoid. And so we gotta stop the Chinese. We gotta stop them. We gotta sanction them and all this shit. Because they're pretty much beating us at our own game. And Uncle Sam sitting here like, what? We're not the superpower anymore, but we have all this money in the military. But like, the Chinese doesn't need to spend all that money on the army anymore, because they own all this oil and they beat us in oil. And I forgot the statistics, but it was a very interesting video. I don't know why I've been watching all these economy videos recently, but like, after learning that money is not based on anything, and that we're entering an age of superinflation soon, and like the economy could crash due to everything being based off the US dollar since the Nixon administration, I really don't know what's gonna go down anymore. I'm a little like, I used to be like, money used to be the thing that kept me up in the morning. Like, I was like, I'm here to get this paper, that money. In a lot of ways it still is, and yeah, I'm about to start this new job. But like, if money literally is undefined and it's fugazi nonsense by local federal governments, and all this printing of money is going to later cause inflation and an economic crisis, am I going to get money at this new job I'm working at? Like, is the economy going to be in one place? I guess there's all this uncertainty about the future, like actual uncertainty. And like, for me, it used to be like, oh, we're going to go to war with Iran. And honestly, this sounds fucked up. War with Iran would actually be a financial booster for the United States right now, because we always get financial, economic boosts during wartime. And even during the Iraq War, which again, the reason that a lot of money went into it and a lot of it was quote unquote seen as a failure or unsuccessful or whatever, is because we were in there, we were trying to seize some oil that may or may not have been there, and we were kind of steeped in too deep, and it became a whole political thing. Okay, I'm not going to speak on the Iraq War like I'm an expert. Basically, Iran has more oil than out in Afghanistan, so we're heading to Iran right now. Because apparently the U.S. government is completely, not even just the U.S. government, the U.S. economic structure, like for anything to run, electricity, cars, fuel, is completely dependent on oil. Completely dependent on oil. Apparently, from the research I've been doing, there was like in the 70s, there was this oil shortage due to something with Saudi Arabia. So I forgot what it was, but something where essentially they hyper raised the price on oil or something to screw us over on some dealer. We pissed them off. I don't remember the conflict exactly. It had to do with the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. Oh no, I think I remember. We backed Iran or something. Some country Saudi Arabia didn't like. And they were like, yeah, bro, you buy all this oil from us, so fuck you, we're jacking up the price. And it caused the great gasoline oil shortage and shit of whatever during the 70s. And that's why every fucking war, every time someone tries to make oil prices not based off the US dollar or something, we go in and fuck them up and try to quote unquote install a new democracy. Is because we're trying to install a representative there that's in line with US interests in oil. It's always about oil. There's several, I should probably, I wish I remembered the name of this video. It was just so informative. But basically, it had all these quotes from like people who worked for like the Secretary of State in the federal government, or like, "Oh yeah, it was always about the oil." I'm saddened by the fact that people don't know that. If people just knew the upfront, there wouldn't be all this controversy about war and wartime. We were just upfront and just transparent. It's like, yeah, this is about oil, honey, and we need that oil because it's ours. But yeah, we're not fighting Iran for Iraq's sake for our treaty with Israel. We're going to war because they have oil at the Gaza Strip, and Israel wants the Gaza Strip, and we want the oil. So that's kind of how it's going to go down. That's why Biden was so gung-ho, we're going to go to war with them. It's all about oil and money at the end of the day, and money has no meaning. It's weird because like, after all these videos, really what has meaning is the values of the resources that we rely on. And we just so happen to put a price tag on everything. But when those price tags fall apart due to superinflation, I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is money printer go brrr. That's kind of what the government's doing right now. We're just like, yeah, just keep printing more. We'll fix it by printing more money. But we're out of money. We'll make more. We'll just keep printing money until the problem goes away. Very turbulent economic pride. I'd hate to be... I'm so glad I'm not a math dude. I'm sure a math dude would be having a heart attack thinking about all this shit. Like the inflation, the printing, all that shit. Sounds like a nightmare. The Chinese shit. And it's funny because now all the Trump shit earlier where he was going off about China, we got China this, China that, and you're like, Trump, what the fuck are you talking about? Now that I'm doing the research, it's like, oh shit, he was actually onto something here. Because China was hitting us where it hurts, but we just didn't want to admit it. It's hurting us in our wallets, bro. And like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, yo, the Chinese got to stop that grind because it's hurting our grind. I guess we just got to grind harder. I don't know. I'm never going to tell people to not chase that dollar. But at the same time, when you consider the inflation and, there might be some economic crash soon, and yen, maybe I'm wrong, but isn't, because from my understanding, all UN currencies are backed by the US dollar. And I think that includes yen. So if, everyone could get fucked at the end of the day. And China might think it's closed off because, they control the economy and it's a closed economy, but, everyone's going to get their hits. I'm not saying I want this, but this is like the projections and shit. And it sounds fucked up that I'm like, oh yeah, we need World War III to go off. But honestly, we kind of do economically because we need that oil. We need this money, bro, because America is not making any money right now. I can't believe I went on an economics tirade on this stream. I almost said podcast. It's just a podcast. It's different. You get to interact with me. You get to change what I'm saying live on air. So talk to me, chat. Let me know I'm not alone. Let me know I'm not screaming into the abyss right now. China! So yeah, the reason I'm streaming so late is because I spent all day not just doing laundry and editing clips, but watching these conspiracy videos about Chinese economy. Also, this other conspiratorial video, which isn't really a conspiracy theory, where Chinese philanthropists, like their versions of Zuckerberg Musk have been talking against the regime, and they've been disappearing. So, and ironically, the government has been seizing their company activity conveniently. Yeah, it's very interesting what's going on over there. Basically, Ping's regime has a plan, a big economic plan that isn't going to happen in 1 or 2 generations. It's going to happen in a couple generations. They have this economic plan for success, and we're all kind of playing this game of catch up, realizing it a little too late. Kind of like with the TikTok data shit. We're kind of realizing all of China's moves a little too late, which is interesting. Like, it's funny because, like, I used to always think, like, our biggest competitor was Russia, in a way, and, like, now that I think about it, yeah, we're competing with them, like, military-wise, but economically, China is our biggest nemesis, number 2. Also, this isn't like this. I don't want to. I'm not promoting like any xenophobia or anti-Asian whatever anything, because I know that's been going around and it's stupid. Racism's, believe it or not, stupid. No, I'm just like going on a weird because I'm talking about the Chinese government from an economic level, not from like a cultural whatever, racial anything. I don't have any ill will toward any group, honestly. Except those white people. So actually, I'm rooting for the Chinese. Let's beat the honky down. Oh, that reminds me, Tucker Carlson. Oh my god, this guy. Just when I thought he couldn't stoop any lower, recently was talking about replacement theory. See, this is what's funny about Fox News. They'll go on and on about critical race theory in schools being bad, but then they'll spout about this weird xenophobic shit about replacement theory, which essentially is immigrants are bad and immigrants are taking our jobs. It's just that same old stupid, like, ignorant argument they've been making for decades, except now they've prettied it up with an intellectual title called replacement theory. And then he was saying, this isn't about race, it's not racial, this is going to affect black people too. And I'm like, oh no, Tucker, just shut up, please. Shut up before you say something stupider. And he said, I forgot what he said. He said he said once these immigrants come in and get this voter and get the majority vote, he said the black demographic won't matter politically anymore. He said black people's votes won't matter anymore if we let these immigrants come in. Like, he's trying to rally the black people. He said, come on, black people, wake up! Yeah, they're not just replacing us whites, but they're going to get rid of you first. He literally said, like, we're in the line of fire, essentially. Kind of like it was weird because, like, to prove his point, he essentially said that black people were somehow in a lower social status than whites. And saying that, oh, you guys are going to get hit way before us. And it just seemed weird. Like, it was this weird, bizarre argument. It just doesn't, like, I only found out about this because I was watching MSNBC, which is honestly one of the few news channels I can sit through. CNN is just a little too liberal for my taste, and Fox News is just straight up, like, conservative dogma bullshit. And sure, is NBC biased too? But NBC is based, and they'll just straight up make fun of everybody. They're not centrist by any means. They're definitely liberal-leaning, but they're like, in terms of like the D&D social scale or whatever, they're chaotic neutral. Not chaotic neutral. What should I say? Chaotic... Lawful chaotic? I don't even know. They're based. I don't know how else to say, but they're based. They'll say like the most out. They'll just say some unfiltered shit. He was like, it's funny because the dude was like, yo, Tucker, that's stupid. He like called him stupid on air. It was wild. I was like, yo, kudos to you, MSNBC. You guys don't play. Then again, I saw one report where a reporter was like, I can't believe I have to report this, but let me reiterate again. The January 6th Capitol riot was not a peaceful protest. And he had to like replay the clips, give out PowerPoint reasons, because, you know, there's those people out there who've been like lying and saying that, oh, it was a peaceful protest when it clearly wasn't. We have the video footage to prove it wasn't. People died. Like, I think like 3 people. So I don't forget how many people died. And one of them was like a fucking security dude a federal officer fucking died. So this is like a big deal. This might be a murder case now. Let alone a felony for breaking on federal property. It probably went up to there to just straight up manslaughter. And now, and then the dude was like, I can't believe I have to repeat myself, but this is a real crime. And the dude, like, oh my god, you could tell he was just like not in his news mood. He was just like, guys, why are we stooped so low? Guys, you can see the footage. He was just done. Like, that's why I like MSNBC. They really don't care no more. I didn't mean for the stream to get all political. I guess this is the political night. All these political and economic theories have stirred in my head, and now I'm getting all political. But yeah, Tucker really grinds my gears. But when he actually said on air, the black demographic won't matter anymore, I just thought that, like, wow, man, you've actually you're not even trying to hide it anymore. You used to hide it so well, Tucker, with subtext and, you know, double speaking, like, I never really said something racist. I said something, I didn't say black people or brown people. I said Antifa or socialists or, you know, marginalized, whatever, woke, whatever. He always says some euphemism. And this time he just straight up said it. He said, basically replacement theory is white genocide again. My favorite conspiracy theory that white people have. White genocide is essentially like the idea that like immigrants and brown people, interracial mixing is going to make it so that white people won't be the majority anymore in America, and then the majority will be brown people. And all this stemmed from a National Geographic poll, essentially, explaining that not too far in like 3 or 4 generations, everyone's going to be brown. Because people are going to be so mixed ethnically that people won't be, like, the majority in America won't be solely white, Anglo-Saxon white anymore. And on top of that, I think population-wise, we already have more Latinx people in the U.S. than white people. Like I think they're second right now. Second, and like it's rising. And so white people, like, my friend got like this thing on his car one day, which I thought was really fun. It was like a flyer for this like little, not Klan rally, but like this, it was clearly some skinhead thing saying like, if you want to learn more about the white genocide, come to our meeting on Thursday night at the whatever. I wish he kept it, because like I've been trying to contact my local chapter of the KKK in my state for a while, but the feds have been trying to intercept their taps, so I don't want my cell phone tied into that. They're probably like, what's this black guy calling the KKK for? Research! I'm gonna be the last black dude to get lynched in America. I'm telling you, it's gotta be me. Not some Jesse fuck. What's that dude's name? Jesse Sommelier? I can't even say his fucking last name. The dude from Boardwalk Empire. No, not Boardwalk Empire. I think it was just called Empire? Whatever that show was on OWN. That dude who lied about getting lynched in Chicago by 2 black guys. The story didn't add up. He lied. He's not going to be the last person to get lynched. This is going to be me, and we're going to do it classic. There's not going to be any holes in the story. We're going to get a good old oak tree. We're going to get some good old boys, some good old red blood Americans with some sheets over their heads. And they're going to be like, we didn't like you in your little cartoon making fun of us. And I'm going to be the last Negro in America to get lynched. And then I'm going to get like the posthumous Pulitzer Prize for best comic ever. It's gonna be great. The NAACP people suck my dick so hard. Is it bad that these are my aspirations in life, to have like a death wish? Hey man, we're living in a society. Ooh boy.